Hello and welcome to another edition of It's Just Me, hosted by Brent Fox. Today's show is pretty much going to be short and sweet, excuse me. Now, what I'm going to get into is, of course, the Super Bowl that's going to be on Sunday. And then, of course, the results from last week's fight card featuring Teofimo Lopez and also Shakur Stevenson. Now, I'll go ahead and get into the Super Bowl first because I just want to make sure that we get that out of the way so that way I can go ahead and discuss the card last week. So, without further ado, Super Bowl, I believe 60 is actually here. Not here in the Dallas area, but of course approaching, and it will be in the San Francisco area. Um, and the Seattle Seahawks will actually be playing the New England Patriots. Now, I did good saying their name. I'm not going to be saying that too much longer because, of course, if you follow my content or know me at all, I hate that team. I genuinely hate them. Reason I hate them, and I don't think that it's really worth explaining, is because as a Steelers supporter, we have taken some very bad losses to them, particularly in some AFC Championship games. The first one that actually comes to mind would be the 2001-2002 AFC Championship in Pittsburgh, where they basically ripped a title shot from us. And that was not a good day. That was not a good day for my Steelers, and it was not a good day for me personally because I had something happen right after the game. So, and it dramatically kind of changed the way that I lived. So, yeah, not a good day. Then there was also the very hopeful 2004-2005 season in which we were all but almost guaranteed to try to make a Super Bowl appearance. Unfortunately, we ran into the same team that particular time. We were properly dissected, and the game ended the way that it did. Luckily for us, the following year, we did wind up winning the Super Bowl. That was a wild ride in itself. Now, when we actually wound up playing them again in the AFC Championship, and this was with the Killer B era where we had Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell. Unfortunately, Le'Veon got hurt very early in the game. And of course, with Le'Veon getting hurt very early in the game, they were able to take away Antonio Brown pretty effectively, and the game kind of went how it went. And we were denied yet again another Super Bowl. So, and then in between those particular times during regular seasons, most of the time, we suffered humiliating loss after humiliating loss after humiliating loss. And then there, of course, in that 2016-2017 season, where we were battling for first place, we unfortunately fell to the hands of the referee. The team that is up in Boston, because there was a controversial catch or non-catch. Wow. At any rate, I'm none too pleased that these people have actually made the Super Bowl yet again, and this is after the quote-unquote dynasty years were over. Now, it does amuse me that both Coach Belichick and Mr. Kraft were denied Hall of Fame entries. I don't care about you guys judging me for laughing at it. I don't care that you guys think that, oh, that's terrible to laugh at that, and how could you how could you not want them in the Hall of Fame? Look at what they've accomplished. Oh yeah, there was Spygate, but that was only 2 Super Bowls or whatever. And then you have that's excuse me, that's 1 Super Bowl, and then you have a chance to prove 5 of them or whatever. Look, they got caught that time. We don't know how many times they've actually been doing this. And then for people to rationalize, well, yeah, everybody steals signals and stuff like that. No. Okay. Just because people have made that a practice doesn't mean they should be doing it. All right. I'm not trying to hear none of that, because I guarantee you, if Coach Tomlin had any of these accusations going, they would probably have nailed him to the cross and burnt it. Okay. So I'm pretty much ecstatic that they didn't go. Okay. I am the person that when CB12 broke her leg in 2008 against the Kansas City Chiefs in the opener, I believe, I barbecued the next day. I legitimately barbecued the next day in celebration. We actually won the Super Bowl that year, 2008, 2009. So, thanks. We appreciate it. And needless to say, I don't know whether or not CB12 is actually going to make the Hall of Fame if Mr. Kraft and Coach Belichick have not. So what does that say about the dynasty if that's the case? See, I'm not the only person that hates this organization. There must be several other people that do too. And I stand in solitude with them. I'm not going to apologize for hating that particular team because they have taken so much from my Steelers. I'll never apologize for that. And until they become a consistent, non-legitimate threat, I'm going to continue to hate them, especially now that they have made another Super Bowl appearance. Okay, just getting off that, let's just take a look at the matchups and be objective about it. Now, of course, both teams actually have very good defenses. I think Seattle's defense may be a bit stronger because they're able to get a bit more turnovers than the team up in Boston. Now, the team up in Boston has a very strong defense as well, coached by Mike Vrabel. Well, not directly coached by Mike Vrabel, but under the tutelage of head coach Mike Vrabel. Now, Mike Vrabel is an old school type coach, okay? Where his bread and butter is he actually makes great stops on defense and actually runs the ball and runs like a ball control offense, basically. All right. So having said that, I do think that it has to be a low scoring game in order for Coach Vrabel to even have a shot at this. And I think that both defenses are strong enough to actually do that. So I'm thinking the game's probably going to wind up being a low scoring one, like a really low scoring one, like 10-17, that type of low score. Or on the high end, I'd probably say maybe 20-13, something like that. But I don't think that it's going to be a shootout. If it's a shootout, Seattle's definitely going to win. It's going to be bad if it's a shootout. I don't think that New England has enough tools to actually keep up with. Okay, so change of setting. All right. So again, I think that it's going to be a low scoring game. I honestly believe that if for whatever reason there's some sort of points exchange, that New England is not going to have enough firepower to try to keep up with Seattle. So if it actually turns or devolves into a shootout, then Seattle wins quite easily. But again, I think that it is going to be a defensive battle. And again, I think it's going to be low scoring. So, unless there are some special teams types of types of if there's like great special teams plays or outstanding special teams plays like a kick return or punt return or something of that nature, which doesn't really seem like, well, it doesn't really seem likely with New England. However, with the addition of I believe Shahid Ali or Ali Shahid, I think that if he is actually able to return a kick or a punt, it's going to blow the game wide open, to be quite honest with you. So I would probably look for something like that as well. But, and this is objectively, okay? Yes, I do not like that team up in Boston. Yes, I hate their guts. But I am also capable of looking at a game objectively and then looking at the matchup element of it and then making a proper decision. I just think that with offense, defense, and special teams, which is three phases of football, the Seattle Seahawks are just a little bit better in two areas and definitely better in one, which is the special teams. So I do have the edge again to Seattle to win the Super Bowl. Again, I have been wrong a lot. And unfortunately, if they do win a seventh Super Bowl trophy, it's just something that I'm going to have to deal with. And I will just have to reserve my hate for next season. And hopefully they crumble miserably and don't even make the playoffs in 2027. I mean, 2026, 2027. So we'll see. Now, moving on to this fabulous card that actually took place last week, featuring Shakur Stevenson and the racist face of boxing, Teofimo Lopez. Now, I will go ahead and get to the undercards first, and then we'll work our way up to the main event. So, of course, we have to start off with the most entertaining or accidentally entertaining fight of the night, which wound up being the fight itself wasn't all that great, okay? But Jarrell Big Baby Miller actually took on Kingsley eBay. And this one was very, very unique. For whatever reason, Gerald Big Baby Miller being the boisterous and humorous fighter that he actually is, decided that it was a great idea to go ahead and wear a toupee to a fight. Now, the fight was actually just kind of like a normal, give and take slug fest, if you will, slug and hug type thing. But I believe maybe it was in the second round, Kingsley eBay actually caught Jarrell Miller with an uppercut, and unfortunately, it knocked his wig back. Okay, there's no other way to put it. His wig got knocked back. All right, just literally off track. Just like that, just like that. So, um, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was the most hilarious thing I've ever actually seen in real life boxing. Um, and of course, we've all seen for those that actually follow boxing, we've all seen the Barry Hunter, Cruz Dezern uh, wig situation in the corner where Barry Hunter snatched her wig off and threw it into the crowd as well, trying to get her to actually focus. Same thing pretty much happened in the corner of Jarrell Big Baby Miller. He himself actually wound up snatching off the wayward hairpiece and then throwing it into the crowd like it was a souvenir. So the toupee actually got more recognition than the actual fight, but it's made its rounds and not top 10. Of course, Jarrell, being who he is, actually went on several different shows just kind of going over what happened. uh, he definitely made an appearance on It Is What It Is with Cameron and Mace. That was hilarious. But yeah, even though the fight itself was not a very entertaining one, Jarrell Big Baby Miller did do enough to actually win the fight. eBay just actually ran out of gas and just could not finish the fight. And he wound up ultimately paying for it, letting Big Baby Miller hang around. Um, and then, of course, the other fight after that was more entertaining, and that was actually the fight of the night, I believe. That particular fight was Bruce Shoo Shoo Carrington versus Carlos Castro. Now, they were actually fighting for the vacant WBC title. Now, this particular fight had a lot of ebb and flow to it, especially early on. They were, again, just kind of feeling each other out first two rounds, but you could kind of see that Shushu was actually in the process of taking control. And then in the third or possibly fourth round, Castro actually caught Shushu with a good right hand, and it really stunned him. And it looked like for a moment that Shushu was in a lot of trouble. And he was, and showing the actual, I would say, fortitude and then also resilience of a champion. He was able to literally battle his way back through that adversity, which of course is a great characteristic for a champion, overcoming adversity, and then being able to beautifully end the fight with basically a straight right, left hook, straight right, left hook, straight right combination to end the fight. Beautiful sequence of punches. If you see it in real time, it's fascinating to watch. Slow motion is pretty good to watch too, but real time, nothing beats it. For him to be able to execute that sequence of punches in such a small window, because professional boxing, you have a very small window to actually get those punches through. It's kind of like professional football where you have like a very small window to throw the ball through. Almost the same thing. Had a very small window to actually get those punches through. They were executed beautifully and were dead accurate, quite literally. Carlos Castro had never actually been knocked out before. He had been stopped on his feet, but he was actually knocked out this particular fight. So congratulations to Bruce Shoo Shoo Carrington, who actually won the WBC title in his hometown in New York. He is actually a Brownstone, Brooklyn native. And for him to actually win that particular title, or his first title rather, in front of a home crowd in Madison Square Garden, nothing like it. It was something straight out of an Adonis Creed movie. Beautiful, 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 beautiful sequence to actually end that fight. I cannot stress that enough. And I cannot stress enough, congratulations, Bruce Shoo Shoo Carrington. Now, there was also another fight, Keyshawn Davis versus Jermaine Ortiz. Now, this one was also a very good fight as well. Now, this was somewhat of a redemption fight for Keyshawn Davis. And, who better to do that against than someone as seasoned and also as talented and as skilled as Jermaine Ortiz. Jermaine Ortiz actually had some controversial losses against, um, Vasil Lomachenko, and more controversially against Teofimo Lopez, who, of course, is featured on the main event. Now, this particular guy actually fights primarily in a southpaw stance, but he does switch up. Um, and in this fight, he actually did try to do that. Now, the beautiful thing about this particular fight was Keyshawn Davis had full control of the fight nearly every round. I don't think that there was I don't think that there was a definitive round that I think Jermaine Ortiz actually won. And I think that ironically showing that type of poise and control throughout the fight for Keyshawn Davis was what led to an amazing performance. Now he was actually able, excuse me, he was actually able to take him out in the final round. I thought it was probably the 10th or 11th, but he took him out in the final round. So he was able to actually just take him out with body blows, which for someone who is actually very educated in the art of boxing, that is what's actually going to debilitate your opponent. Headshots are beautiful to actually, put on film and actually do instant replays on or highlight reels on and things of that nature. But if you are able to debilitate someone by hitting them in the body and then essentially making their body give up, to me, that's actually more satisfying than catching somebody with an uppercut hook combination to the head and then laying them out. I think that I think because there's so much involved with actually making sure that you're actually in position to get inside to land those particular punches, and then B, making sure those punches are as effective as possible once you're in there, because it's a very dangerous place to be. Like, you can get caught with all kinds of stuff. If you're not careful, you can get hit with a hook on the way in, and then you can actually get hit with an uppercut while you're in there. And if someone actually hits you with an uppercut, especially a professional fighter, the fight at best is shaky if you can recover. Most of the time, if you're caught with a clean uppercut that you did not see coming, that's the end of the fight. But to Keyshawn's credit, he was able to effectively use his jab, even though Ortiz was actually in a southpaw stance most of the time. And then he was actually able to set up punches, such as a nice left hook, nice beautiful lead right hand, and was able to just pretty much control the fight and do what he wanted to do. So, you know, after the fiasco that actually took place, I believe in June in his hometown of Norfolk, Virginia, I think that this was actually long overdue, and it seems as though he's actually getting back on the right track. He did call out Devin Haney at the end of the fight, and I would actually love to see those two actually fight. So, congratulations to Keyshawn Davis. I am so glad that you were able to overcome the circumstances that you actually faced in that hometown bout. And I look forward to seeing more. And I also look forward to you doing better. All right. So on to the main event, which is what we are here to talk about. So, Shakur Stevenson took on Teofimo Lopez, of course, in Madison Square Garden, as I mentioned before. And then I believe that they were fighting for a WBO belt, if I'm not mistaken. Hang on just a second here, and I will make sure and confirm that. All right. Yep. He actually won the WBO and ring belt, excuse me, at 140 pounds. So, Shakur Stevenson actually performed. Yeah, he actually put on a beautiful boxing clinic against Teofimo Lopez. From the very beginning, Shakur actually just was able to quickly find range and then be able to just stymie and stop Teofimo Lopez. Now, although I have some strong personal views about Teofimo Lopez, especially with him being a racist. He is a certified racist. And I don't care about him apologizing for slavery and all of that. Post fight, he's still a racist. He has history of being racist, and I'm not about to let him off the hook just because he lost a fight, and deservedly so. Okay? If you're looking for a Teofimo Lopez sympathy party, it's not going to be here. It's not going to be here. Now, I'm only going to look at him as a fighter. I'm not going to make an evaluation on him as a boxing personality at this point. I'm strictly talking about the fight. So, that being said, well, I'll strictly talk about the fight for right now. That being said, Shakur was able to effectively time and also control Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo is actually known for making very quick, sudden, and explosive movements in the ring. He has a very unconventional style where he does not mind actually lunging in very quickly to try to get punches off. This time, that did not work at all. That did not work at all. As a matter of fact, it seems as though anytime Teofimo wanted to flinch forward or move forward, he would get caught. He would get caught with a jab, just right off the bat, on the way in, just caught with a jab. And I think a big part of that, and shout out to Boxing Gyms, is that his hands were actually very low, especially in a dangerous, in a dangerously close range. Like, if Shakur is actually able to reach out and jab you within that particular range, and then your arm is down, you're gonna get hit. And I did not understand their particular stance, but then again, there's a subject matter that I'm actually going to go over that would probably explain that. But again, Teofimo just trying to gain confidence and do what he normally does and try to be effective with it. It just did not work. It just did not work at all. And shout out to Shakur Stevenson. He was able to beautifully master timing, speed, positioning, which was very important. When you're a southpaw actually fighting an orthodox fighter or the other way around, you want to make sure that your lead foot, which is the foot that you have in front, is going to be just outside of your opponents. Now, the reason that is actually important is because you limit your opponent's movement when you actually have your foot outside theirs. So it is very, very important to establish that foot being outside their foot. That way you can actually control range and also distance in most cases. So, shout out to the team for being able to, point that out, and Shakur for actually being able to execute things like that. So it was a beautiful, beautiful boxing clinic that he was able to actually put on. Now, on the other side of that, Teofimo Lopez, as much as I do not like the boxing personality, I do not know Teofimo personally. But from his actions in real life, I still believe that he is actually very racist, and that he he does actually have some type of mental issues. He is very mentally fragile, and his confidence can be broken quite easily, as we saw on Saturday night. But also, there was no support from his corner at all. And his corner is led by none other than his father, Teofimo Lopez Sr., who offered no real instructions or no real help or no real counsel for that matter. Um, there were several quotables that, yeah, that are no nos as far as just trying to give instructions or trying to implement a fight plan for your fighter to actually win. Where's your power, bro? Or, or you gotta hit him, bro. Or my personal favorite, you're gonna regret this tomorrow. What kind of instruction is that? Like nothing? Like, okay, even a hey, T.O., why don't you pick up your left hand and try and throw Shakur a feint. Let's see how he reacts, and then we could probably come up with a series of shots that we could hit him with just based off of that. Let's just see how he reacts to this. Or, hey, why don't we try? And to T.O.'s credit, he did actually go to the body, I believe, in the eighth round, and that may have been the only round that he may have won. So more of that. Hey, son, why don't you just distract him up high and then catch him down low and then try and move out? Or why don't we try making sure our guard's up? Why don't we just try feinting, then pivoting and see what he does? Let's see how he reacts to again, why don't we see how he reacts to straight right hands to the body, something of that nature, rather than those, oh man, where's your power, bro? Or, oh man, you're not hitting him. Or, oh man, you're gonna regret this tomorrow. I mean, wouldn't you regret this tomorrow because you're not giving him proper instruction? Senior has to go, and I think it's painfully obvious that he has to go. But that's T.O.'s decision to make, and whatever decision he makes is whatever decision he makes. No sympathy from me on that. You know, when black people stop being monkeys to you and you stop ranting about ESPN giving blacks everything and going on some type of half-hearted apology and saying that black people have all the advantages anyway, and why are y'all so mad? No, that's not an apology, man. That's not an apology, and you definitely have your own issues that you got to deal with. And again, until you show change behavior on a consistent level as far as dealing with black people, you still gonna be the racist face of boxing. But Ryan Garcia runs a close second. And yes, I understand that. Hey man, he apologized, and I even had someone, tell me that their spouse actually met Ryan Garcia. He was nice to them. Of course, they were black, and that they didn't sense that with him. And I definitely appreciate that if that's their experience. But unfortunately, the experiences that I've actually seen were Ryan using hard ER, Ryan actually saying that, hey, why don't we dig up George Floyd and delete him again? And, that he wanted to join the Ku Klux Klan and he hated all hard ERs. So, yeah, um, until your actions show that, first and foremost, that you and your father, Henry, who's also a racist, he called Bill Haney a nappy head, never apologized for it. And then when other black people were trying to explain to him how that's racist, he wasn't even trying to hear it. So yeah, he's definitely a racist. Henry Garcia and Ryan Garcia are blatant racists. So yeah, won't be supporting that fight with him and Mario Barrios. I hope Barrios knocks him the fuck out. I really do. I'm sick of Ryan Garcia. I'm sick of hearing about him. I'm sick of actually him training in my city of Dallas. I hope that Barrios embarrasses him so much that he just really hates Derrick James and he leaves. Sorry, DJ, but all money ain't good money, brother. All money ain't good money. And you got Alicia Baumgardner at this particular point, and hopefully, you can grow and develop with her. And then I'm sure that there are going to be other fighters in your stable that will probably give you the money that you so richly deserve. But brother, all money ain't good money. And I'm not trying to tell you what to do. To be quite honest with you, you're a Dallas boxing legend, Derek. For real. You're you've actually you've been an invaluable credit to Oak Cliff. Shout out to Coach Ahmad, who was my former coach like way back in the day. That's his brother. And I, you know, I I sincerely hope that Coach James is actually able to represent for the city of Dallas, and then also, more importantly, himself and his legacy. But I I'm counting down for the time that Ryan Garcia actually just does not work with Derrick James any longer, and I understand that that may hurt, and I don't want that to actually affect you that much, but this guy is no, this guy is not a quality person. Guy's not a quality person. It's just been too much information from people that deal with him directly that just say otherwise. Like, you know, Garcia is very talented, and there are some skills that he actually did build in the gym, but he's relying on his talent too much. Let's just be honest about that. And hopefully, someone like Brian Norman Jr. is able to close the door once and for all on that particular fighter's chapter. So, we'll see. We'll see. I think that that would be a good matchup. I do, if I have to think about this objectively, unfortunately, I think Ryan Garcia actually winds up winning the WBC welterweight title and takes it away from Mario Barrios. I don't know whether or not that would be through well, I mean, it could very well be a stoppage, but I think unfortunately he's going to win his first world title with Mario Barrios. I think Mauricio has actually lined that up pretty well, and he's going to make sure that Ryan gets his belt. So, yeah. But just kind of getting back to the fight card here. Again, with that particular masterful performance, Shakur Stevenson has a plethora of options. One of which, of course, is Devin Haney if he decides he wants to move up to 147. But there are plenty of options at 140. Richardson Hitchens is still around. Excuse me. And then you also have, Gary Antoine Russell, I believe, still at 140. What you call it? Oh man, what's my boy's name? Lamont Roach, he could move up to 140. I know he's at 135 right now, but he could move up to 140 and fight Shakur. That would still be a marketable fight. It's not going to be the best fight, but it would be a marketable one. So, he could do that. But nonetheless, I have actually run overtime ranting about, of course, these particular low character people in boxing. So I'm just going to go ahead and end it on a high note and say congratulations to Shakur Stevenson for for putting an exclamation point on being one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world. And we shall see if he is the best in his era. Thank you all so much for tuning in to It's Just Me, of course, hosted by Brent Fox. Y'all, please check out my brothers Jared O11 Green and Coach 67 Sports TV on YouTube and all social media platforms for Coach 67 Sports TV, who is the best Southern content creator on the face of this planet. You can catch us all on the Southern Baller Show on YouTube, 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on Sundays. Again, I definitely appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you guys enjoy the Super Bowl, and I will see you guys next time.